Hello, my name is Harshada, and I'm a secondary teacher in a school which is operative in Pune. And I'm here today. I will be talking about what basically you can do with your children at home, or basically in school as well, to get them to understand science in a better manner. Right, so when I'm working with schools, I attend a lot of parent teacher meetings. Even with the tuitions, I meet a lot of parents, and they have a concern regarding their children, which is science being a very important subject. They are not sure how to help their kids learn the subject more interestingly, or how to go about teaching their children by themselves at home. And it's very easy to do. Actually, it's not just that only the skilled teachers and the teachers who are highly trained, and who have taken like a actual education into it, only can do it. A lot of people can do this teaching of science at home as well. And since the lockdown has started, I have been doing it at home. Earlier, all of the tools and all of the technology that I had at my expense in the school is not available right now. And in the beginning, yes, I also thought that it is going to be very difficult to do this at home. How am I going to manage, and how exactly would it work? Because I don't have any lab equipments at home, and I don't have a whiteboard. And the kids need to be engaged throughout. But it's quite easy actually, if you go to see, because there are so many apps that you can use, and all the things that you have at home, like very simple things, like even when you're cooking, or when you are gardening, or even when you are just simply having a small conversation with your children. You can do that. You can teach them about science, because there's so many things that your textbooks will not teach. Right, so this is what I would like to talk about today. So the first question that the parents say is, ma'am, when he comes home, or when my daughter comes home, they won't tell me what they have learned. So how do I understand what my child has been doing in the school, or how do I understand what revision I'm supposed to take? Right, so it's quite easy. You don't need to know exactly what your child has been learning on that particular day. It's not what a child is learning on one day, or what they're learning in a week. We need to see what a particular curriculum, if your child is in state board curriculum, or your child is in central board curriculum, or even if they're doing the international curriculums, you will not you'll not be able to gauge properly, or you will not be able to find out what a child has learned on a particular single day, because what you're learning is interlinked with each other. So instead of asking your children every day what they've been learning in the school, what you can do is you can start a small project yourself, which is, maybe you could give them some research work, or you could basically just read up the textbook a little. Right, so now I don't know what age groups your children may be, but it works usually with all of the children, which is, if you ask them continuously what have you been doing, they're not interested in letting us know that. But if you tell them, I want to do this with you, that usually helps. That is what most of the parents are unable to do at this point, because yes, all of us are working. We spend a lot of time away from the house, and when we come back, we don't really have um, the passion is there, but you don't really have the stamina, or the maybe the understanding of what your child is doing. So maybe starting a small project in the beginning would help. Don't jump into learning what they're doing in their syllabus. It's not going to be that helpful as a parent in the beginning phase. Now, if you have been seeing your child learning online during the lockdown, you may see that the teachers are teaching in very there's a different manner in which the classes are going, and you cannot, definitely cannot match what the teacher is doing. You may be doing better than the teachers are, there's no doubt in that. Some parents that I know are very good at homeschooling, but what a child is learning in school cannot be replicated at home. You can have either better version of learning happening at home, or you can have slightly underdog learning at home. You cannot match what is the child doing in the school. So you have to start with your own work. You cannot just revisit what the child is doing in the school, because that way they're not going to be interested in it. So that's one thing. If you want your child to let you know that okay, this is what they're doing, you can ask them questions about it, and maybe start something yourself with them, and then they'll get more open, and then they'll be able to share more about what they have been learning and how they like to learn, right? So that is the first thing. The second thing that I have been observing for a very long time, which is there's a lot of focus put by parents on homeworks, right? So homework is basically given by teachers. Like if I give homework to the students I teach, it is basically for me to assess what a child has been learning, right? So homework cannot be treated as revision. Homework cannot be treated as something that you have to sit down with your child and get it done. Most of the parents say that the teachers send a very difficult sort of homework home, and then the child is sleeping and the parent is doing the homework. It's not what you are expected to do. As a parent, you are only supposed to help the child get there. You cannot be doing your child's homework. And now when the online situations are more tiresome, I see a lot of work that comes from my students, the submissions that I get. You can make out that this child last year was not submitting me this sort of work, this complex sentence formation, or you can even look at the way the child's presentation of the work is. Obviously it's a different platform, so the child may have learned and picked up a few skills, but it is evident that the parent is been helping the child, and that's not the goal here. You've finished your education, so the goal now is to get your child to finish their part. So when the parents say that, oh, it is a new learning platform and we don't know how we're supposed to go about, it's difficult for the children as well. So learning science at home today is all about how we are able to adjust to this new platform. And the students, if you've been seeing your children, and if you've been seeing what has been happening in the schools, they're very well adapted in the past 2 months to this particular part. They're doing good. They're understanding the technology better than we do. They obviously always understand technology better than us adults do, but the children have been doing quite well. So that's the second thing. If you're worried about your child's homework, you don't need to be. The homework is something that is to be done by the student, and it's fine if the homework is wrong, if the submission of the work that your child is making is wrong, because then the teacher is able to understand, okay, so this is where this particular student has faced difficulty. So when you are teaching your child at home, when you're teaching science to your children at home, or for that matter any subject, the homework is not something that a parent is expected to do. Homework is something that you want the children to do on their own, so that the teacher understands where the child is and how the child is understanding, and what techniques the teacher needs to change, what are the things that the teacher needs to inculcate in her teaching, so that she can impart better understanding to the student, right? So that's the first two questions. There's the third very popular question that the parents have when they're starting to teach their kids at home, or when the teachers are to be, sat in front of them, and then they have a parent teacher meeting. So the third question that the parents usually have in their mind is, what about the practical part of the science understanding? So you can do the learning of the practical part anywhere. It's not always necessary that your child has to learn all of the practical skills for sciences, or for physics, or for language only in school. Your children can learn that anywhere. You can do that at home as well. And the best way to do that is to start a conversation. If, like, the part where we come from, like, the generation of us who are now into the teaching field, we came from a different family conditions. Our parents did not sit down and ask us, okay, so is this what you're learning? So it may seem very new, and it may seem very prototypic to us to, simply start a conversation, or just sit down our kids and tell them, okay, so this is what you need to do if you want a particular task to be done. So it may seem very difficult in the beginning, but it doesn't have to be. You can start with a smaller task, like maybe you could talk about the thermodynamics, or you could talk about the heat exchange with your children by simply teaching them how to make tea. You're giving them life skills over there. So it's the practical skills. When you talk about the children learning the practical skills, we are talking about the children learning things that they're going to be using in their daily life. So it doesn't have to be ability to dissect a frog. It doesn't have to be the child's ability to demonstrate Hooke's law, or it doesn't have to be the child's ability to maybe perform a chemical reaction, or to explain something in detail using the proper terminology. Learning practical skills from science can be something as easy as a child being able to make tea properly, or the practical skills for science could be something as easy as the child being able to calculate the exact amount of time that could be required to make a particular reaction take place, as simple as making a pickle, or as simple as making a egg omelette. The children need to learn those skills, and those are some things that a teacher cannot do in the school premises. So when parents come and ask, like, what about the practicals, I think this is something that as a holistic learning we should expect from parent and teacher as a combined group, which is getting the students to learn something. So it's while the teacher is teaching the children about the rate of reactions, or maybe about the Planck's constant, or if you're talking about your biology, if the teacher is teaching about the different organ systems, the parents can take the opportunity and give more exposure to students or their children about this part. So what you can do is, when the child gets hurt, you can take that opportunity to talk about, oh, see, this is why you're bleeding, and so here is what the mechanism comes into place, and this is how you stop bleeding. So this is something that can be done at home by the parents as well. Now this happens where we are talking about the role of the parent taking up the the flag of teaching their child in their hand and taking the education further. Now the platforms where I have been working, and the schools where I fortunately got to work with, they worked on a very different principle. So to tell you a little about the schools that I worked with a institute called a School of Life, and this was a very different you can say a platform for me as a teacher and even for students. So what we did here is we put more emphasis, you can say, on tool based learning than rote learning. So we tried to see if the children could learn something as a practical more than learning it from writing it down or by making notes. And I observed that the students learned better when they did this. The students were able to grasp more information. They were able to retain more facts, and they were able to recreate what was taught to them when it was in practical based learning. And even now when I'm teaching in a different school, I try to bring that out. So if you look at the classes where we're talking about the cell, or let's say we're talking about organizations in living organisms, what we do is we try to give real life examples to students, and that really helps in a long run, because now the student has learned the definition, the student has learned a particular topic, and they have seen that particular structure what they're learning about in practicality. So that's something which is what we should be looking further while when we are saying that we want to learn science, and we want to learn it from a platform where we are more comfortable. And to be realistic, we know that somewhere down the lane we know that this lockdown is going to extend, and we the children have now discovered that this way of learning is more beneficial. They're finding joy in learning online, because they can talk as much as they want, and the teacher would not really notice all the time that, oh, this child has muted themselves and they're talking maybe. So yes, there are perks that the students are finding in this way of learning, but it in no way is going to mean that the teachers are not enjoying this part. So while this online learning platform is going to persist for a very long time, it becomes important for us to understand how we can support our child's education, and how we can better onto what the child is learning in school. Right, so there are few things apart from just starting a conversation, or apart from just straightforward teaching your child what to do. You can give them exposure to certain YouTube channels. There are a lot of good platforms out there on YouTube as well, where the children, without investing a lot of time, they learn quick concepts. So there are a few websites that you can get your children logged into. There are a few YouTube channels. There are a few TED talks that really help the children. There are a few again, these could be the websites itself, where you have quizzes being put up. So you have this app, this website called as Kahoot, where you can simply select a particular topic, and it's very handy. Like when I'm teaching, I'm finding this particular you can say website which is very handy, because I can simply select a topic, be it from biology, be it from physics, be it from chemistry, or even social studies for that matter. I simply have to select a topic, and I have to select the marks, and I also get to select the criteria on which I want to take a quiz. So it can be a MCQ format, it can be a subjective format, and I simply put that up. I put up the information that I want to grade the students based on, and online we take a quiz, and the students are able to appear for it. So as a parent also, this can be done. If you are homeschooling your child, this could be one thing that comes really handy. If you are talking about a young adult, like if you're talking about your child who is in 11th and 12th grade, right? So for them, there are these different platforms where they can initiate learning. There's Skillshare. Obviously you can log into Skillshare, and you can learn so many different things. You can log on to Udemy. Creating a course on Udemy and basically is also very easy. You can You can send, obviously the student can always join a coaching center and get a little more out of their regular learning, more out of their textbooks. That is another option. If you want your child to learn of sciences at home, then you can get them to watch these YouTube channels called Crash Course, or you have your Minute Physics, or you also have your Amoeba Sisters. These are all child friendly channels. You will not have any obscenity on these videos, so you can be always um, you can say you can rely on these websites or these channels because they are child friendly. So even when your child is watching these channels for, let's say, about 2 to 3 hours, they are not learning something which you as a parent wouldn't want them to know. So those are just a few things that when we say learning online or learning at home for sciences, that's something that can be taken into consideration. Then again, looking at learning from home from a child's point of view, right? So if you are saying that your children are as you can say that your children are going to be learning at home for a long time, if that is something that we are saying, and if you want your child to take up the responsibility of doing this, then yes, obviously there are ways in which you can get the child to also follow this, right? You can get the children to basically start doing their work on their own. You can have children to just start learning by simply taking up a book, or you can have your child basically do small exercises. You can give them research questions. You can have the children make a small project. It's all there. So it's basically what the need of the child is, and based on that the parent can uh, how do we go about it? The parent can uh, cater the needs based on what their child is specifically looking at. And by just asking a question, so what have you learned in school, is not going to help your child get there. So if you really want to understand how to support the child's education in any subject, I'm not just talking about science, in any of the subject, even if you're talking about languages, if that needs to be done with your child, then the question is not what the child has learned in the school. The question should be not what do I revise, it should be how I can add on to that. If my child is learning about digestive system in school, then it's of no benefit if you just get the child to revisit something like that, because the teacher is anyway going to do the revision in the school back again. What is important is you add on to that learning at home, so the child feels like there's a contribution from the teachers as well as a contribution from the parents side, right? Because when the child is learning about the digestive system at home, at school, then at home maybe you could get them to introduce to the topic that, so when you eat very spicy food, or let's say when you eat very salty food, what happens? So if the parent could basically get the child to understand, oh, so this is basically what my teacher was talking about when the teacher says when you eat salty food or when you eat spicy food, this is what happens to your body. This is where your child gets the opportunity to learn that part, right? This is where the child is going to explore that. So when the teacher has told him that by eating very spicy food you may get dysentery, but that is where the teacher's in that understanding stops, because the teacher obviously cannot feed the child. The teacher cannot give that experience to the child where they can understand, oh, so because I ate this spicy food, this is what happened with me. Because I ate spicy food, I got dysentery. So that is where the parent needs to come in, that is where the parent needs to step in and say that, okay, so this is what you've learned, but does it actually work? Does it actually function that way? And That's simply by just cooking a particular thing. You normally cook for children, so just by cooking something a little spicier on a particular day, you've introduced your child and you've reinforced that learning. Eating spicy food will give you dysentery. It's that simple. So you don't have to revisit or revise the concept that the child is learning in the school. All you need to do is build upon that understanding, give your child that scope to understand. So if the child is asking or telling you maybe that today this is what I learned about in school, don't ask them questions. This is where parents usually get down onto their child's learning path, where they ask the child, they interrogate the child. So if you say you learned this, how do you not remember this? That is where you've shut the door. That is where you've stopped your child asking you the questions, and this is where you make your child more dependent on school than them being open to learning from you. If you start interrogating your child about a particular concept they've learned in the school, they're not going to come back and tell you that I learned this amazing concept in my school today. They're not going to share that up. It's because they somewhere feel that oh, if I tell my parent about this, I'm going to be asked several questions about it, and what if I'm not confident? So if your child comes around and tells you that today my teacher told me that there are two types of reactions. I learned today that there's something called as endothermic reaction and exothermic reaction. Obviously you finished your school long time ago, and it is quite possible that you don't even remember these concepts being taught to you in your school. But what you can do during these times is you can ask the child, oh, I think I also learned this thing, can you help me catch up? So when you say that how do I get back and how do I revisit this, or can you tell me about what is happening, can you tell me how this reaction takes place? That is where you're not interrogating your child, you are asking them to contribute to your knowledge. And that's how learning at home can take place. That's how learning science uh, in more sophisticated manner can take place. You're not interrogating your child, you're not putting your child into a position where they don't want to do it anymore. You are in fact encouraging the child. You're telling the child that, oh, you have learned this today, but I learned it long time ago and maybe I need a revision. And that's something that encourages the child to learn with you. In fact, obviously, yes, the teachers also follow the same techniques in school. Like this is a very famous method in which the teachers reinforce learning. So when a child is asking question, we get them to get their friends to answer. So we encourage peer learning, where one child is maybe not very confident answering to a teacher because they feel that the question is directed towards them, and if they get it wrong, they may end into trouble. So in this scenario, what we do is we ask a student to help their other friend to basically conceptualize a particular thing that they've studied in their school. Maybe like if yesterday we did a particular topic, today you could get the it. If you have two children, this can be done at home as well. And the age group, or you can say the grades of the students and your children do not play a role over here. If you have two children and let's say one child is in grade 2 and other child might well be in grade 8, it's not the age does not put a barrier in the learning of the kids at home. In classes, maybe in schools, maybe yes, but at home it does not put a barrier, because those two kids are growing up in the same environment. So when a younger one is learning something, you can give the younger one the opportunity to explain something, and they'll be very excited to do that, because they assumed everyone in the house who has already passed grade 2 has learned this. But when they realize, oh, this is something which I know and maybe my elder brother or sister or my mom is not aware of, you can see that the joy on the face of the child when they're explaining. So I have a few kids like that. So I have a kid who's in grade 3 right now, and he watches a lot of YouTube. He reads a lot. He's very confident. He's very jolly. And what he likes to do is, I really appreciate the parents' role over here in this, because whenever the child is learning something, whenever the child explores something new, they encourage him to talk out about it. So they encourage the child to just basically tell them what they know. They encourage the child to basically speak out what he wants to say first, and then instead of asking very directed questions about the topic, they're not asking questions to see if the child is actually understood everything. They're asking questions phrased in a manner where the child sees that, oh, my parents are interested in knowing what I want to tell. They are not asking me if I'm confident about what I'm saying. They're ready to learn with me. And so that really helps a child build that part. So that helps the child to basically get to that uh, phase of learning where they're comfortable doing the same things that they do in the school to do in the house as well. So that's another thing in which you can another way where you can reinforce the learning in positive manner. You're not focusing on revision. You're not focusing on making the child feel that whatever they learn in school has to be retained like word by word by them in the in the revision format, or they have to remember it in the um, like the rote learning format. But they can do that even without um, feeling the pressure, without feeling the burden of giving answers. So that's another fact there. Then the next query, you may say, or the next trouble that a lot of parents are having in this lockdown format is there's a lot of learning happening, but where is this leading the children? So there are schools which are taking online classes from 8 o'clock, and then your child is also going to they're also going to tutorials, and there's a lot of learning. There are a lot of teachers pouring out so much amount of information. Right now you're sitting for a session and there's a lot of information being poured at you, but how are we keeping a tab of this information? How would you as a parent understand if the child was actually looking at the content that the teacher was delivering, or was the child just simply looking at the screen and not there? They were not really a part of that learning process. So in order to understand that, there's a very simple method. It's not invasive in the teacher's classroom. It is not ever a good idea to just sit right next to your child when they are having their online class going on. It is going to be intimidating to the child. It is also going to be intimidating to the teacher, because this is a new platform for the teacher as well. So a better way to gauge what your child has learned on an online class is to sit down with them later and basically say, so hey, I heard your teacher say about this, it seemed really nice, so do you want to share it with me? Or maybe if you're not that talkative of a parent, then what you can do is simply you can go on YouTube, or maybe you can be on a platform like there's TED. There are platforms like you have different websites. And if you have seen your child learn a particular concept, like for example tomorrow, right, when your children go to school and you hear the teacher talk about let's say landforms, you don't have to directly ask the child, what did you learn today? In more subtle way, what you could do is you could send maybe a worksheet to the child, or maybe you could start a channel, you could start a YouTube video and be like, hey, you know what, this is a landform that I know about. You could tell them about the trek you took, or you could ask them if they want to go on trek. So you don't directly have to ask what the child has learned. You can build up on what the child has learned by telling them, so this is the landform where we live, or this is a landform where I took a trek, and do you want to know more about it? So yes, it is going to be difficult in the beginning. It is going to be very challenging for any parent to take it up. But if you do, if you encourage your child to learn in this manner, you will definitely see that benefit. Not right away. You're not going to be able to see that change in the learning platform. You're not going to see your child just directly opening up with you and pouring out all of the information that they're learning. It is a process. The child is going to take some time to do that, but you'll be able to add on to the learning of your child if you follow these things. Along with that, then there's the next issue that with the online learning that we are facing right now. There's a lot of work that a child is doing, but how do I know that this is the child's work? How do I make sure that this is not something that my child has just simply copied from a particular place and just pasted it into the assignment? So in order for you to, and even for teachers, basically this is something that even the teachers are coming across. The child is submitting work. Yes, there is a lot of work done by the student, and some of it is really good as well. Like it's something that we did not see a child do when we had physical school. Maybe because there are more resources available to the child. It could also be because the child has more freedom, because they are not constantly being watched by the teacher. They know that they can turn off their camera and maybe they could work in their own space, so that invasion of space is not there. So some children are really thriving, but yes, we are also observing that certain children are doing the classes, but they are not able to put in the information. So they've resorted to more easier platform, which is where you copy some work from a particular site and you simply put it in your assignment. Now that is not something that as a parent you're looking forward to, or as a teachers the adults are looking forward to. We don't want that to happen. So in order for your child to feel encouraged to write their own work, you have to start doing that first. So if the child is, even as a teacher, if I want my student to give me some work which I say that write in your own words, my question needs to be formatted that way. If you want your child to give you something which is their own, you can say, creation, you need to give that to the child first. If I want the student to tell me about now there are so many places where you can do this. If you are talking about cells, and I don't want a very textual answer from this child, I want to understand if the child has actually learnt it. So I need to frame my question which does not sound textual. I need to ask the child if they feel that mitochondria is important, and if they do, why do they feel mitochondria is important? And this is where the child is actually going to think. They are going to be like, oh, so yes, the textbook says that the mitochondria is the powerhouse, but why do I feel that? And that's where you've started a different thing with the child. It is not going to be very fast. It is not going to be a process which you're going to get done within a day, within a week, but it's the beginning. And that is basically what, when I say learning science is easily, or learning science from home, now this is where the topic comes into conceptualization. When I'm saying that you can learn something at home, or when the parents want their children to learn something at home, be it sciences, be it maths, be it languages, this is how we get to do that. And as much as the teacher plays a role in the child's understanding of these concepts, parent can very well also be the equal part in this phase, right? The parent can also contribute the equal amount if we stop those interrogations, if we stop those rapid questions with the child and just simply allow them to share. So that is basically what I had to say. If you have anything to ask, if there's any query that as a parent you think that a teacher could address, or you have some tips, so if you want to share something, you can do that. Yes. So this is my teacher, Miss. She's taught me in my school, and yes, so I can see. Hello, ma'am. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay. So a lot of people I see here, I've been actually personally associated with all of them. Ms. Sonali, I've been working with her for a very brief period of time now. We got into touch through a common friend, and I'm here actually talking today with everyone because she asked me like, so you take tuitions, you do this teaching work, why don't you come with us and share some things. So I want to thank you, Sonali ma'am, to for allowing me to do this. And yes, so this is where we are. I see that okay, if you guys have any question, if there's anything that you want to say, if there's anything that you want to add, you can take the dais, you can do that. All right. The I also see the principal of the school I teach. That's Miss Rashmi. She's also here. So if ma'am you want to say something, you're here. All right. So I'm just gonna wait if anyone has anything to say. Otherwise, this is basically what I had to offer. This is something that I picked up from teaching in schools and from teaching in tutorials, and obviously from the places where I learned, and it has helped me become more accessible to the students. It has definitely helped me learn better, and this is basically it. Yes. So if we don't have any questions, then we can meet on a different platform, or maybe meet one other time, and maybe you could come up with a few questions, and I'll see if there's something that I can offer, or maybe if I can come for your help, or maybe you could help me with a few things. So that will be all. Just give me a second. All right. Yes, thank you, Rutuja. Yes, Rutuja is a friend who's got me and Sonali ma'am in touch. So this is how we are meeting here today. So this is it. All right. So if you have anything to say, I believe you can do it on the group where we just had the session, and do let me know. And if I do come across something that I can pick up again, I can definitely do that. All right. So this is me, and see you soon. Bye.